Welcome to Ask Fear and Greed, where listeners write in and ask questions of Sean Aylmer in the hope that he can answer them. Today's question comes from Lena, and while she sent it in a few weeks ago, it's very apt today. Here's the question, Sean. What happens in Australia if Donald Trump wins the US election?
Well, we all run around screaming and don't go on holidays over there anymore. Isn't that what happens?
Just per chance, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we all want to know the answer to that one. Donald Trump is, let's say, unpredictable, but
Yes.
we'll have a crack. So let's think military ties. Australia's most important military ally has, since the Second World War, been the US. So I think that's not going to, in a sense, it's going to put pressure on Australia's relationship with China because the US will be at verbal war, at least, with China. Australia is very tied to the US. Australia-Chinese relations have improved. I think, diplomats from all three countries kind of know how things work, but I don't think it's going to help Australia-Chinese relations. Now, in terms of the Indo-Pacific, Trump formalised the Quad agreement, which was actually an initiative from the administration before him, Barack Obama's administration. That was India, Japan, Australia, and the US. So clearly Trump has some leaning towards that one. AUKUS, that's the big one. Tens of billions of dollars tied up in that one. But that is over decades. In fact, we're not supposed to get the first submarine for a long, long time. You can't say its future is assured, but it's sort of heading in the right direction. And there could be 4 or 5 administrations before that actually finishes. We do know that J.D. Vance came out a few months ago and said he's a fan of it.
Yeah, right.
So maybe. The one I think that we should be worried about are the tariffs issue. So tariffs are a big, big feature of Trump's policies.
Yeah.
He said there'll be 10 to 20% tariffs across the board, more on China. Now, we do have a Australia-US free trade agreement where most movement of goods is tariff-free. Just off the top of my head, I think it's about $16 billion or maybe it's $13 billion in Australian exports to the US. If they get hit with tariffs, that's going to be a slowdown for those exporters, without a doubt.
Yeah, but the whole industries could be affected at our end.
Yeah, you just don't know whether he's actually... Donald Trump says stuff, but you kind of have to take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah, only some of it happens.
Yeah. So it's hard to know. Certainly a trade war with China would drag Australia down. I think we mentioned that. The Inflation Reduction Act's an interesting one, and the whole climate change issue. Remember, even Donald Trump said, drill, baby, drill. Wasn't his great phrase? Not a believer, really. Would pull out of the Paris Climate Agreement. The Biden administration introduced the Inflation Reduction Act. That is a misnomer in its name because really what it is, it's a climate change act trying to get critical minerals out of the US and not China. Trump has said that he will water it down. Having said that, he doesn't want to rely on China either. So again, who knows? Will Trump and the US support the United Nations? Who knows?
Big question.
Equities will probably jump to begin with, but then they'll slow. If economic growth slows, then equities will slow. Simple as that. Interest rates will be higher for longer if Trump spends as much money as he's talking about. And, that's...
And the tariffs, right? Because they're inflationary in their nature in America.
Yep. And immigration. If you stop immigration, that's inflationary by nature. The one thing I would say, Kevin Rudd must be a bit uncomfortable at the moment, wouldn't you think?
Would you say this is a complex and very interesting dynamic set of circumstances?
Yeah. He was very critical of Trump, and then Trump kind of said, I've met him once, so he's a weird little fella, or something like that. I don't think that was quite it. And I think Kevin Rudd has been scrambling ever since. He's a good scrambler. I've got to give him that. Look.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's not bad, but he'll be under pressure.
Yeah, totally. Lena, I don't know that we've answered your question or not. We've thrown a few ideas out there. The thing about Donald Trump, he is so unpredictable that we really... I think broadly things will be okay. Like, I don't think it's not a disaster or anything like that. Socially it might be a disaster, but economically it's not going to be a disaster or anything. So I hope we've sort of answered your questions.
Look, I agree, Sean. I think it's going to be very unpredictable. But broadly, it's going to be okay. We're just not quite sure of industry by industry how it might play out. And it'll be something of a spectator sport to watch the decision-making as it happens.
Yep, for sure.
Thank you, Sean. It was a terrific answer and a very complex one.
Thank you, Adam.
You've been listening to Ask Fear and Greed. Thank you, Sean Aylmer. I'm Adam Lang. Have a great day.